and y'all can see the slides and everything. All right, everybody, welcome to tonight. It's so good to see we've got lots of friends and live listeners, and hopefully this will be so wonderful and valuable that you'll share it too with friends. But tonight we're covering Chemistry of Essential Oils Part 1. I say we, but I've got some really special guests and friends on tonight. Missy and David Garig, they're husband and wife duo, but they are on separate videos, as you can see. That's my son calling from the bathtub. I'm coming, hang on one second. So just a little bit about them. They're both certified C.A.R.E instructors. Correct me if I'm wrong, Missy, but C.A.R.E is, what's the first acronym? Center for Aromatherapy and Research and Education.
Research and Education.
Perfect. They have completed 164 hours of work and study. They know oils, y'all. It is extremely hard to condense chemistry because I just took a course with them a couple weeks ago. And it was what, 2 hours, 4 hours?
Two 4-hour courses. So it's a total of 8.
And that was like for beginners. Okay. So it's almost comical to say 20 minutes of chemistry, but it's a little bit, and it's a taste, and you will learn something. And look, this is the book, The Chemistry of Essential Oils, God's Love Manifest in Molecules, The Chemistry of Essential Oils Made Simple by Dr. David Stewart. Look how thick it is. So that is the course, the chemistry, one of the books that we used as a resource. But the way that we kind of broke it down tonight, we have definitely a part 2 coming. So this is just part 1. So I'm going to hand it over to Missy and David, and let me know, y'all. I'm going to mute myself because I'm nursing my baby and there's a lot going on. But if I need to change a slide, just say so, and I'll be right here. So,
Okay.
All right.
Hi. So I'm going to start us off with what is an essential oil? And I think we've all heard about this. A volatile liquid that vaporizes quickly, that comes from plants, the roots, the resin, the leaves, the flowers, the shrubs, the seeds, etc., that contain the healing properties of plants. They are in lipid form and light in molecular weight, and it can absorb readily into our cells. There are literally 100 to 100,000. There's so many more herbs that are being found constantly. So these numbers are actually not ever correct. There's just constant evolution of it. And we use them topically, aromatically, or internally. Dave?
All right, let's talk about the benefits of essential oils. And when we talk about essential oils, like she said, we're talking about properly steamed distilled essential oils. On the left, you see all the antis, right? Antibacterial, antiviral, antifungal, antiparasitic, antimicrobial, antiseptic, anti-inflammatory, and antioxidant. On the right, it's an immunostimulant. It's detoxifying. It's an analgesic. It's anesthetic, therapeutic, homeostatic. It oxygenates cells. It cleanses the receptor sites in the body, and it reprograms our DNA. This is you, Melissa.
I have you down for page 7, but okay. No, this is you.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Okay, so we see a typical distillation column in the bottom picture in the bottom left, and then the top right, we see a block diagram of properly steamed distillation process. It requires about 250 pounds of lavender to yield 1 pound of essential oil, 2,000 pounds of cypress for a pound of essential oil, 6,000 pounds of melissa for 1 pound of essential oil, or 5,000 rose petals to fill a 5 ml bottle of rose oil. Steam distillation is at a low pressure. It's the best process to get the full therapeutic effects because if the membrane of the molecule is fractured while the oil is being released, can't see the bottom of the screen. I'll switch to my phone here. Then if the structure of the oil is altered, it loses much of its therapeutic effects.
So then I'm not able to see the actual graphic. So do we have the other steam distillation graphic up yet?
Yes.
Okay, so that's a very important point there at the very end of his slide was the therapeutic effect. We do know that our beloved oils have lost the ability to say therapeutic effect, but make no mistake, they are still distilling to create that effect, okay? So steam distillation, so we have here a copy of first, second, third, and fourth distillation. The first, as you can see, is a very small amount of essential oil that's garnished from the distillation process. And then you can see how concentrated the color is, okay? As we get to the fourth, we're a less concentration and more volume. So we may have more volume and they can sell at a cheaper price, but they don't have the quality that the first steam distillation run gives us. So that's the highest therapeutic effect is from that first steam distillation. Scented oils and even many essential oils are run through the third and fourth distillations and have almost zero effect, but they are cheaper and smell sweeter. So if you get an oil from another company and it smells sweet, that's why. They've changed the molecular structure of it and it's sweeter, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's nicer. So, and those numbers were astounding, right? 5,000 petals to get one bottle. Those are pretty astounding. So whenever someone's talking to you about the cost of essential oils from our beloved company, that's your answer. It's the steam distillation process. I mean, obviously it's the seed to seal process that comes before that gives us the ability to have the steam distillation. Now, if we have the constituents in oils graphic up,
Yes.
this tells us how long they have to distill and what pressure they have to distill in order to get all of the constituents that would be therapeutic. Cypress at 24 hours, 240 degrees, and 5 pounds of pressure gets all of the active 280 constituents and properties for the full therapeutic effect of cypress. That's how you get the cypress that will help your cardiovascular system and move your blood and your liquids. Cypress at less than 22 hours, 18 to 20 of the primary therapeutic constituents will be missing. So just 2 hours or less changes that whole volume of therapeutic care. And cypress at 26 hours equals 0 constituents. Now, so 2 hours either way, and we've lost what we need. Most distills of cypress are only 1 hour and 15 minutes. Although the oil is easily sold and marketed, it is a very poor quality. Source is imperative when dealing with essential oils. So that's the root of it all, right? Aside from seed to seal. David, next.
All right, essential oils versus pharmaceuticals. This is an example showing wintergreen as compared to aspirin, but what you'll find is most pharmaceuticals are made in a lab, synthetic, and mimic something natural in nature. So we look at wintergreen on the left. It's primarily methyl salicylates. It's 85 to 99% in its natural form. That's what's made in nature. And then on the right, we have aspirin, and it's acetyl salicylic acid, and that's the synthetic form. When they make it in a lab, that's what they get. Both of them are for pain relief and an anticoagulant. However, in the natural form, it can also reduce headaches, inflammation, arthritic pain, and aids in breathing. The synthetic lab version does not give you any of those benefits. What it does give you, it can also cause gastric bleeding, liver and kidney damage, cancer, or even death. Wintergreen has permanent healing and benefits. Aspirin is a temporary fix, but permanent damage. Wintergreen on the left is homeostatic. The body uses it as it needs and then expels the rest. The synthetic version works regardless of the body's need. It was made for a purpose, and it's going to fill that purpose whether the body needs it or not. The natural form, it can't be patented. It can't be monopolized. The big pharma version, they can patent it. So that's why they do it. 30 milliliters of wintergreen oil is equal to 171 adult aspirin. Next.
It's pretty astonishing stuff there, right?
All right, Melissa, your slide is up.
Okay, so here we have some really great uses for lavender, lemon, and peppermint. So if you notice right down here, underneath all of those columns, it says combine these 3 oils for a very powerful anti-allergy balm, right? We've all been aware of this combo, but look at the next sentence. It says you can Google search for a suggestion for most over-the-counters with an essential oil. And what you're going to do is, if you need Neosporin and you know the name of Neosporin, then you can say essential oil in place of Neosporin in your Google bar. Okay, so you're going to be very direct, and you're going to actually get the answer that you're looking for. Okay, also always remember the first 3 to 5 articles are almost always against the natural way. Just skip down below those. Don't go into fear and all of that, because that's not where God works. So lavender can be taken as a use for Neosporin, Tylenol PM, peroxide, alcohol, Benadryl, aspirin, Aleve, Motrin, or Claritin. Lemon, here we go again with Neosporin, children's Tylenol, peroxide, Chloroseptic, Mucinex, cough syrup, Imodium AD, and cleaners. Peppermint can be used instead of Tylenol, Pepto-Bismol, Tums, Mylanta, Beano, Midol, breath mints, and breath aid. So some of these things are very self-explanatory. If you looked at your EODR, which is an essential oil desk reference, and you looked at lavender, you would see that we call it the Swiss Army knife for a reason. It goes into the body and it decides what it needs to be done. So if your clients are telling you, hey, I used lavender, it didn't work for me. Well, how often did they apply it? And that would be the key component right there, because when your lavender goes in, it may decide that you need to deal with the cleanliness of the site, right? Using hydrogen peroxide instead of dealing with the pain in the site, okay? So we would reapply, and therefore, eventually within 90 minutes, every 15 minutes reapplying, you're gonna deal with your pain. You're also gonna get that Tylenol PM effect. Okay, my next slide should be about MRSA and hospitals. This is basically about viruses. Many years ago in France, rosemary was put into the airline systems, and that's how they maintained the cleanliness of their environments. Well, when they decided to start using man-made products, the cleanliness of their environment went down, but also their mental acuity and energy levels went down, because rosemary helps with that as well. So we see the shift, right? And that was a well-documented shift in France. So here's the MRSA. Synthetic drugs are consistent in molecular form, causing bacterial resistance. Okay, so we've seen that across the board. There are drugs that we no longer get the same effects from, okay? So bacteria can't become resistant to essential oils due to them being slightly different in every batch from the varied growing conditions. So they get different light, they get different wind, they get different water. Everything about them is different. They may be on the same plot of land or in a different country. So the France essential oil, lavender, is different than the United States, which you'll find here in Utah. But when they took, after a severe issue in France, when they Gary took back the lavender seeds that he had in Utah and replanted them in France. They became like the France essential oil. The flower took on the old properties that it always had. So it's something about the way it's grown that changes the way we get essential oils. It's really spectacular. So this makes essential oils highly effective against MRSA and other resistant strains of bacteria. Hospitals around the country have started using essential oils for this reason. There are many, many countries that have used essential oils for a long time, and the United States is returning back to that as well. My last slide, I believe, is going to be on the 20 minutes. And many of us have heard this. This is essential oils are small enough in molecular size that they quickly penetrate into the tissues of the skin. Essential oils are around 500 AMU. That's an atomic mass unit. And it takes about 20 minutes. So, and that's how long it takes for us to see it in every cell of our body. And they're capable of penetrating cell membranes, even if that membrane has been hardened because of an oxygen deficiency. So we're talking about going further into lung tissue than your actual drugs, synthetic drugs can. David?
All right, let's talk about the blood-brain barrier. This is how we get the molecules of essential oils to where they are needed most into our cells. So in order for an essential oil to cross the blood-brain barrier, it has to pass through very tight junctions. Melissa already mentioned the molecules must be lipid. They're oils in nature and must be less than, we say 500 AMU. This says 800 to 1,000. But these 500 AMU or less essential oils are the aromatic therapeutic grade oils that you only get with a properly steam distilled first pass steam distillation. Pharmaceuticals have trouble with treating diseases of the brain because they are too large, because the synthetic molecules are too large and they weigh too much. They weigh more than 500 AMU, atomic mass units. Essential oils can cross the barrier and have therapeutic healing effects in the brain. Some examples are Alzheimer's, autism, Parkinson, lesions, etc. Let's talk about potency. The tiny molecular structure means one drop contains 400 million trillion molecules. That's like one drop, a part per million is like one drop in an Olympic-sized swimming pool. The body has 100 trillion cells. So one drop of essential oil contains enough molecules to cover every cell of the body. Just like Melissa mentioned, the 20 minutes, it can be in every cell of your body in 20 minutes. It only takes one molecule of the right kind of oil to open a receptor site and communicate with the DNA to alter cellular function. This is why even inhaling a small amount of oil vapor can have profound effects on the body, brain, and emotions for healing.
That's probably the one thing that if I could get everyone to understand, the potency of one drop of essential oil covers every cell in your body with 40,000 molecules. One cell of your body gets 40,000 molecules, and it only takes one. That's stunning. And they can't reproduce this because this is a God-given creation. And there's no way you can reproduce this. I've had people ask me, well, why did God make doctors? My question is, did God make doctors? Well, if you ever came to a C.A.R.E instructor's class in chemistry, we would debunk that through the Bible. But nonetheless, he did create what he intended for our wellness. And one drop of it is sufficient to its cause.
I love that. Does anybody have a question for Missy and David before we close? That was so good, as much as you packed into 20 minutes and you stayed on time. So what we have for part 2, which is going to be on June 19th, is at least this is some of the things, covering homeostasis and intelligent design, intelligent discrimination, frequency, different constituents, like phenols, monoterpenes, sesquiterpenes, antioxidant value, and even going into some of the testing with like gas chromatography and different things. I feel like I hear a baby crying. Not just mine. So that will be part 2, but thank you guys. Thank you, Missy and David, for sharing your wisdom. And I don't think anybody has any questions, but that was wonderful. And every time I hear chemistry, I guess 2 things: points me back to the creator, back to the design, the plan, and then reminds me to use my oils and to use them all the time and more, use them more. Just how we were designed to be, in the garden, surrounded, touching them, inhaling them, not just using them when you think you need them, but all the time, preventatively, for your physical and emotional health. So that was wonderful. Thank y'all. And then we'll go ahead and end this, and we'll see y'all chemistry part 2.
Thanks,
y'all.
everyone.
All right. Y'all have a good night. Bye.